Hold on, what's the...
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Yanks of the Cop. If you're joining us, welcome to the group's therapy session. I am Scans. I'm joined, as always, by Wahomie. Steven is on vacation in Florida, and hopefully he's having a good time in the sun and isn't as depressed as Wahomie and I are right now. But if you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. We would definitely appreciate that. But let's get into it, Wahomie. Another loss for Liverpool at Anfield. That's 5 straight, and I think that's the first time ever that's happened to Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah, it's just embarrassing. And the thing is, like, we're not going to criticize Klopp because he's got credit in the bank and he's been a world-class manager for us. But if you took away that credit in the bank that Klopp had and it's any other manager, 5 defeats in a row at Anfield sacking for offence for most other managers. It really is. If you think about it, that's unacceptable to lose 5. But obviously, we would not want Klopp sacked at all because he's like the best things we've had, ever at the club. But it's unacceptable. I think today as well, he got it wrong. He got the decision wrong. Why was K-Back starting us over Phillips?
Phillips wasn't even on the bench, though. So did he pick up an injury? Like, why was Reece Williams on the bench over Phillips?
I don't know. But
Where was Davies?
Davies is done. He's not got a career in Liverpool. No. But I just thought like, unless Phillips was injured, if he wasn't injured, then I don't decide to starting K-Back tonight because I think he was all over the place. He just didn't. He had Werner had him on toast most of the game. And I just felt like we'll get into the game, but Klopp got the subs wrong to me today again. And I just felt like we didn't start this game with any confidence. Really. Like I didn't feel we were controlling this game. I didn't think like there's any point where we were dominating possession of the ball really and controlling the game. I always felt that we were naive playing a high line. I didn't understand we were playing a high line when they were playing Werner. Because every time it's just simple. Chelsea just every time simple ball at the top and they're in behind us.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Why play a high line against the best counterattacking forward, maybe even in the world? And it just allows Chelsea to sit in there playing 3 at the back with 2 wing backs. They're sitting in with a double pivot of Conte and Jorginho, who didn't have a lick of attacking sense in them all game. And all it takes to beat this Liverpool defense is a simple ball over the top because they're playing such a high line. It just does. I don't get the tactics there at all. I don't get the tactics.
It was baffling, and I didn't understand why we didn't change our tactics because Fabinho looked off the pace badly. He looked like in that first 20 minutes he looked well off the pace, like he was struggling, and because if you look back to the Chelsea game away, Fabinho had Werner in his back pocket most of that game, but tonight he looked well off the pace, and I think that didn't help, and I think as well like our midfield offered our defense no protection. There was no control of the game. There was no anyone that was taking leadership and saying, look, let's control this ball. Let's keep the ball and pass the ball around and dictate the tempo of the game. There was none. It was like it was easy for Chelsea to cut through our midfield so many times and get behind us. Chelsea realistically should have been 1-0 up. That was never offside. It was, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be pissed off. That was never offside. That was a clear goal, for me. And I think if we're counting that as offsides and football's gone crazy. And I feel that Chelsea should have definitely gone in that half 1-0 up because we didn't deserve anything that first half. I know we had the 2 Salah chances where he passed the ball to Mane and Jones, and I think there were poor touches on both of them, and they squandered big chances. Other than that, I didn't think we deserved anything else in that first half. I thought we were poor again, and it's just
Just going to Julian's comment here. He said, I love Klopp with all my heart, but this is on Klopp. Substitutions were shit. Best player was subbed off, and Mane and Bobby were left stinking up the pitch. Ox and Milner off the bench. Bruh. Yeah, I completely agree. I think the subs were absolutely terrible. I thought the tactics were off. Zama said, I love Klopp, but he has to carry the torch for our midfield and attack. Once I saw our main attacking threat was that looping ball between the center backs and fullbacks, I knew it was going to be a long game. That's what it was for me for most of the game. I mean, we just didn't have any threat in the midfield. This has just been a constant theme for us the entire season. It just seems like we run out of ideas, and when the midfield option isn't available, whether it's Thiago or Gini, we just thump it through the midfield or through the center of the park for the defense. and it just ends up going either to the keeper, it's a bad touch by Mane or Salah, or the opposing defender just gobbles it up. So I think we just ran out of ideas there. And, Chris Welch came in and said, easy win for Chelsea. Once we go 1-0 down, I know we're not winning the game. That's what it's come down to. Yeah, and I think that sub from, taking Salah off, who's the league leading goal scorer and the only one who's really creating in this game, he puts two absolute peaches into the box for Sadio Mane and Curtis Jones, and neither of them connect on it. And then you decide to take him off in the 65th minute. What's up, Sophie?
Hey, safe.
Hi.
Join the group therapy session.
She's frozen.
Yeah, she's frozen.
Yeah, what annoys me is the fact that on midfield there's no one tackling. There's no one. There's no one breaking up play in the midfield. There's no one getting a tackle in. Like putting their foot in the ball and trying to stop Chelsea attacks. It was too easy for Mount, Jorginho just to pass through us, walk through us, and get counter attacks. I think that was the main thing for me. It's like, obviously, when we're missing the Fabinho or Henderson in midfield, there's no one that's tackling, making any tackles. Yeah. I think that's the main thing, because when you're playing a team like Chelsea, you need someone that breaks up play, that stops interruptions. Like Kante, he was doing it again for us, against Chelsea, for Liverpool side, Chelsea side. He was breaking up play, stopping our attacks, and we have no one on our side doing that. And that's why it makes it so easy. Because, tonight was, for example, for me, was a difference of Mason Mount showing us what fighting his eye was tonight, because he was just running the show, and it was like, and he was doing it unchallenged. There was no one pressing him. There was no one trying to close him down. Like the goal he scored. Why was Trent going inside and allowing Fabinho to come out? Why was Trent should have been on the outside and trying to close him down? And it was just so easy for Mount to cut in and shoot. And I just didn't understand the defending. I was thinking and also didn't help Bobby giving the ball away. Bobby did a stinker tonight. He gave the ball away. And I was like, what are you doing, Bobby? Like, I don't know what's going on with Bobby, and I don't know what's going on with Mane, because both of them have just been shocking all season.
And both stayed on the pitch. Sophie, what do you think?
How? I'm sorry, this is weird, but I agree with Naomi again. Like, that was an awful game. Like, I think for about 20 minutes in, I zoned out and was like, I can't watch this. Like, it was painful. We just let them walk all over us. We put up no fight, no nothing. It was like we went in absolutely toothless. I don't understand the substitution. I don't. Why would you take Jones off? And why would you take Salah off? The two players on the pitch who look like they actually wanted to fucking do something. And he takes them both off. And then he brings Milner on. You've got a better chance of scoring a goal by putting me on? Oh my god, like, I love Milner, I do, and I really appreciate everything he's done for us, but I just think
not in this game.
He
did not belong in this game.
Not in a game where the problems we're having are in midfield. Like, I don't understand. And why would you bring Mane? Was awful from start to finish that game. He was awful. He had no control. He kept putting Robbo in positions where Robbo couldn't make accurate passes or crosses through. He kept putting pressure on the midfield, and he wasn't playing a good game. And then he missed that absolute sitter, and then Klopp takes Salah off.
Yeah, and you could tell Salah was pretty ticked off about it, just shaking his head the entire time.
Because I just looked at it and was like, oh yeah, Jota's coming on now. It's like, buzz and get in. I'm like, we'll get a goal, take Mane off. And then I was like, hang on a minute, where the fuck's Salah going? Like, where do you go? I was like, turn back round and walk back on that pitch.
What do you guys think about the formation? I mean, Zama here says that we did all those formation changes against Sheffield, only for us to revert back to our 4-3-3 a week later. I mean, you saw Bobby against Sheffield. We were all singing his praises for his distribution that game, and then this game he just put in an absolute stinker, and we were back to the 4-3-3. Is there a connection there?
4-3-3 is shit. It's shit without Virgil. It's shit.
I agree there. And I was just going to say, like,
oh my god, we agree.
Like Julian said, it's the end of the world. I was going to say, like, I don't understand why we changed that. And I think Klopp overthinks it. When we play a big team, he feels that he's played to more their strength rather than our strength. I think he felt, well, the Chelsea I can't play as we did against Sheffield United. You know, even though I thought Bobby dropping deep in that game, he played better as a 10. You know, rather than playing for the middle. I thought the one thing I didn't like is I think Mane comes in too central. There's no link up with him and Robbo anymore.
No.
You know, because I think there's times in the first half, I'm thinking like we've seen Trent on the far, you know, really far wide in reaching the touchline. We looked at our side and Robbo's never getting to the touchline on his side anymore. And there's no link up between him and Mane. And I thought, well, why are we playing Mane so central for? Because he's not really impacting the game there, you know. And I don't like the 4-3-3. I agree. I think it's the wrong formation. I don't understand why Klopp keeps defaulting back to it because, you know, you're going to die by a sword, you know, because, you know, he's making these decisions now and it just doesn't make sense. And it's costing us now. And I don't know where we go now from here. You know, top four's not over still because I still think that, you know, the opposition have still a lot of hard games to go, but it's an uphill struggle now. And do we go into the game against Fulham with confidence that we're the favourites for that game at Anfield?
No.
I don't like playing at Anfield. Like Anfield Road on Twitter, he put up earlier about City being allowed to play their game at home in the Champions League at the Etihad, whereas we've got to play it in a neutral venue. And after that game, I just thought, you know what? I'm fucking glad we've got to play it in a neutral venue because I don't want to play in Anfield at the minute. Because and he was like, Anfield's a fortress, but it's not a fortress anymore. It's like a cataclysm for us. Like we play there and we just go to pot, and I don't understand why at the minute. But I don't think this 4-3-3 is going to work. Like the 4-3-3 worked when we played the high line with Virgil and we had Gomez, and they could actually do that high line. Without that high line, that 4-3-3 doesn't work. You do not have the feeding through the midfield. The midfield do not have the strength to feed to the front three without it. And like you said, we're home having Mane going in a more central position. Doesn't work. Bobby can't play a 9 anymore. His role needs to change, and it needs to. And I've been saying this for months and months and months. And Ben, my friend, will absolutely hate me for saying this because he loves Bobby. But I just think Bobby's done in that role. You know, that false 9 that we've all argued for years. We've been like, Bobby's not a goal scorer. Bobby's the glue. Bobby's the playmaker. Bobby's not doing that. But when we played a different formation against Sheffield and Bobby was further back, we saw those skills and we saw what he was able to feed forward. But he can't be in that front three anymore. We need somebody who's clinical. We need Jota in that front three constantly now, and Bobby's got to move back. There has to be a change somewhere. You can't keep playing the same 11 lads every week in the same 4-3-3 like that. You can't go from being Champions League finalists, losing the league by 1 point and winning the Champions League, winning the league, winning the Super Cup, winning the World Club Cup, to that. To being 7th in the Premier League like that. No. World-class team. It hasn't changed. We've added to the squad. And you're telling me that's the best we can do now?
To be fair, we have had, I mean, we all know that we've had a lot of injuries. I will say that. And we've had some big injuries throughout the season. So, I mean, it's definitely tough for some of these players to get into the motion of things. But no, I mean, I agree with you. Bobby, even last season, Bobby wasn't at his best. You know, even when we were the
Same as the wine.
I love it. Went after it.
I got let me get another one.
No, but even last season, well, homie, I mean, Bobby wasn't really performing as he was the past 2 seasons prior to that. So, I mean, I've been saying that. I don't think that once Jota's healthy, I don't think we're going to be seeing too much of Bobby as, you know, completing a full 90, even though for some reason we saw it today. But yeah, I think his time as the 9 is definitely over. I'm just so surprised that Klopp didn't go with him as more of a 10 role today. Maybe it was because of that double pivot that Chelsea came with. That is filled to the brim.
Okay, I mean, I'm not very happy with the glass at the minute, but it'll do.
It'll do. Well, homie, what do you think?
I think obviously we all love Bobby. You know, he's been a legend at Liverpool. You know, the thing is his, like, as ages catch up with him, and he's lost obviously that step he used to have where he was good at holding up the ball. You know, this is not like 17, 18 Bobby or, you know, 15, 16 Bobby that was just so good at holding off defenders and You know, I remember the counter attacks with Coutinho, how Bobby and Coutinho were amazing. You know, like this isn't that Bobby anymore. His age has caught up with him. You know, like now. I think also someone said to me, I watched a different podcast. They was talking about how Bobby's evolved. You know, like Bobby when he first came, he had colors in his hair. He was dressed like in more like stylish clothes.
Yeah, his hair was spiked up. Yeah.
Yeah. Now since he's married and with the kids, he's totally changed his image.
Hang on a minute. Don't be saying because when you get married, you get boring.
But you know, he's lost that kind of like that Samba Bobby feel. You know, like, and I think we should now be calling him Robert because I don't think he deserves Bobby anymore. You know,
Robert.
Yeah, because because like this isn't the Bobby you know, and unless
I gotta get that a hot take. I gotta get.
I was waiting for that. I was thinking, go on, Andrew, put it on.
Unless he gets to the 10, Bobby might have to play on the bench sometimes now. I was surprised. I was surprised we didn't go Jota, Salamani in that second half.
I get not playing Jota the full 90 because, you know, you said it in your last podcast, we've been rushing players back from injury too quick. We did it with Fabinho against City and he ended up being injured again. And I didn't want to rush back. This was the first time he's done training properly and full training for a significant period to be match fit. I don't think he should have played the 90, but I think he should have come on a bit quicker than he did. And it should have been for Mane. Or at least Bobby, because I completely agree. Like, Bobby's aging now. Like, you know, yes, he's still technically, chronologically, he's young. But football and ability-wise, you've seen a massive drop in his form. And it's not just this season. It's been a couple of seasons now where Bobby's been, like, just slowly dipping a bit at a time. And I think he's massively impacting Mane and Salah around him.
Well, even, just obviously Bobby's slumping, but Johnny Doyle in the chat here had a good point. He says, not one to normally worry, but when do we begin to panic? Where does this slump end? This is massively worrying. I mean, how worried are you guys? Do you think we can still beat Leipzig in the Champions League? Do you think that we'll beat Fulham next week?
I think if we play in that game, Mane, Salah, and Jota, and because obviously we got two in the Champions League game, we got 2 away goals, so the pressure's all on Leipzig to come attack us. You know, so if we play them free, I think the pace and the attack will cause them problems. You know, even against Fulham, I think we start Jota in that game, we'll beat Fulham. We'll Jota in that game if he starts. You know, well, obviously my concern is. There's too many players that are just playing poor. I thought Trent again.
Trent was horrendous today. Trent was absolutely horrendous today.
Yeah, he was poor today. He was absolutely shocking. I just didn't understand his defending.
That defending on the first goal, let me just say this. That defending on the first goal was the worst bit of coverage defending I've ever seen out of this Liverpool team this season. He gave Mason Mount the entire inside to just take that ball and beat Fabinho. And Fabinho was left standing there like, what the hell just happened?
No,
why would you cover the right? Why would you cover the outside? Why? It just doesn't make any sense. As a defender, you always have to cover the middle.
Even though Bobby fucked up there, you can't say that was just not Bobby, sorry, Trent, because you look at Fabinho just stands there and turns and goes, oh yeah, look at.
Fabinho did his job, though. He showed Mount in the middle, and Trent should have been there.
But he should have been better than his job. He didn't do his job. He did technically what he could have done in the situation, but he's better than that. And you can't say that for 1 second that's an acceptable standard from Fabinho. I know he's not a centre-back. I know he's a CDM, and I know it's his first game back from injury. But I'm not the only Liverpool fan here, and I'm sure you're the same, who accepts that type of level from the boys anymore.
It's too easy for him to get past Bobby.
It was you steamrolling.
It's too easy. There's no amount.
People were frightened to get Liverpool in a draw, and you go, "Oh my God, I don't want to play Liverpool." Or Liverpool are playing on Saturday. I don't want to play. Now people are going, "I'm playing Liverpool. Fucking get in." I feel like I'm back in 2015. If I have to listen to my head teacher one more time, go, "Are you getting on the 7th?" I'm gonna punch you. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being told.
Sounds like a prick.
Do you know what? He's lovely, but he's an Evertonian fan, isn't he?
I think it's just like it was too easy for them tonight. Chelsea, they didn't have to really work hard for it. It was just too easy. It was like sometimes it felt like to me we were playing testimonial. Like there was no fight, there's no hunger. We were just happy for Chelsea just to play the ball, pass the ball around us, get behind us, and it wasn't even like overall good football from Chelsea. It's like sometimes it's a simple ball up the pitch and they're behind us and we're all over the place. And it's concerning that that's so easy. And the amount of times Alisson had to come off the bench as well, off his line, to clear the ball last minute because it's just so easy for Chelsea to wait through us. I just don't understand.
I think Chelsea should be embarrassed that it was only 1-0, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just don't understand where's the hunger? Where's our hunger and pressing gone? There's no press whatsoever. Normally people
I think it's tough in the midfield, homie. I think it's tough in the midfield with. I mean, I love Thiago, but I think he's very slow on the press often. There were several times today where he just seemed out of position or slightly behind on the press. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. And I think Thiago was poor today again, but he's not a 6. He is
not a 6. Not in the Premier League.
No, he's playing the deepest one because a lot of times Gini was a bit further than him. He's playing the deepest one. He's not 6. He's not someone that's going to cover the defense in that way. That's not his role. He wasn't doing that at Bayern Munich. So he's having to do a lot more defending. But of course, I still think Thiago should be doing much more better, than he is because he's not being good enough,
Yeah.
But he's not a 6.
What pissed me off with Thiago today, I can't remember when it was in match, but we were on the press, we were pushing forward, we were doing really well. Chelsea hadn't managed to make those 2 back strips, those 2 rows. We had a chance, and Thiago's first thing was to run the ball back to the halfway line and pass it back to Kabak. And I was like, "Why? You're not recycling play. Why are you making backwards passes when we're 1-0 down?" Like,
it's just frustrating. It was frustrating.
It is really aggravating watching a team that undoubtedly were one of the best teams in the world, and now we're watching them when we've added to them in the summer. We added Jota, we added, Thiago. We should have been better, and I understand we've had injuries, and I'll hold my hand up and say it's had a massive impact on us. We've missed over 1,000 days worth of football with all our injuries. But equally, how long can you keep blaming injuries?
All season. I'm blaming it all season.
But you can't. But no, seriously, we've got Fabinho's back. We've got Jota back. We're not. The players that we've got are not weak players. They are not poor quality players. I mean, understandably, we don't have our centre-backs the way we'd want them to be. If we at least had Matip or Gomez, we'd be fine. We'd be a lot better. But we've still got arguably the best right back, best left back in the league. We've still got arguably, some of the best front 3 in the league. We've still got an amazing midfield, and yet we can't do football with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think, yes, injuries have played a part, but at the same time, some of the performances of the players haven't been good enough. There's been substandard performances where they've ghosted, they've hid. I think sometimes, I hate to say it, it's been coward football. It's like you're not willing to, you're not willing to take the fight, and fight for it. We're trying to battle for top 4, get in the Champions League again, and you're not willing to fight for it. You're coasting it and thinking that maybe that's gonna be enough. I think and that obviously affects when you've got like at least Mane, Bobby, Trent. At least you've got like at least 5 or 6 players that are not playing well. It affects the whole the starting lineup, and that takes a toll because you can't just rely on 3 or 4 players to play well. You need the other ones to step up.
But homie, look at the last 2 games. Last game we played against Sheffield United, and what happened in that game? You and I even said that Gini Wijnaldum, Thiago, and Curtis Jones were all taking chances. And why are they taking chances? Because they knew they were playing Sheffield United. They knew Ollie McBurney was up top and that he didn't really represent that big of a threat. Yeah, he did have some chances because Kabak wasn't that great in that game. But in this game, I don't think they took those chances because they didn't have that confidence knowing that Timo Werner was behind them. So we didn't see them trying to take risks. We didn't see them step into space and try to beat a defender one-on-one. We didn't see that at all in this game. And that's been kind of the theme against a low block or against a solidly defensive team, that our midfield does not take chances. And that leads to no shots on target, and just no chances all around.
Do you know what I don't understand? Why were we scared of Chelsea? That's what it felt like this game, that we went in scared of them.
Because they have speed up top, and we didn't know how to deal with it.
But they had speed up top last time we played them as well. And I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, when we played them at Stamford Bridge, that Thiago broke their record within the first 15 minutes of him being on the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, but we also had Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez in that
just
game.
take that out of it. But we still had players in position. Take Virgil out of the context for a second. We still had Alisson, we still had Trent, we still had Robbo, we still had Gini, we still had Thiago, we still had the front three. That quality has not changed. So the quality itself hasn't changed, but something has got to give with that now. And Johnny said it in the chat there, name one player, who've played 8 out of 10 consecutive games. Like, they're not giving their all at the minute. Yes, injuries are a huge factor, and Johnny's right there, but then you can't, and I know I keep saying I miss Virgil, I want Virgil back, but you can't keep blaming this on one player. Virgil impacts the game massively, but he's not responsible for the front three showing up. He's not responsible for the midfield actually doing their fucking job for once. And he's not responsible for the fact that we've just gone out there and bent over and let Chelsea absolutely destroy us. We shouldn't be scared of Chelsea.
100% true. I think that's the thing. Sometimes I think some of the players need to take a look at themselves and say, haven't been good enough. But I think one thing I will say, let's take
a look at this real quick from James Pierce. He said Klopp on the decision to take Salah off. The reason for the sub was that at that moment, Mo looked like he was feeling the intensity and didn't want to risk him. I just
felt the fucking intensity and I just smacked him if he took me off.
Clearly he was upset when he came off. But what do you guys think about that?
I don't buy that. I don't buy there's any intensity issues. I don't think that. I think Klopp gave up at that point, and I'm just gonna take
Salah off and rest him for Leipzig and the weekend.
Damage limitation.
That's why I brought Milner on.
Yeah, damage limitation. I'd rather lose 1-0 than get embarrassed by Chelsea. Damage limitation.
That's all it was. It literally, he knew after about 70 minutes that we weren't going to get anything from that. We weren't going to get a draw, and it was literally just a case of let's just keep it at a 1-0 loss. Let's try and salvage some, goal difference. That's what it came to. And when he brought Milner on, that was just like a slap in the face to every fan.
Yeah.
You bring Milner on when you're up, and you just want to hold that midfield. That's his job now. That's his role. He's done his time for us. He's done a good job of it. That's what he's there for. But to bring him on when you're 1-0 fucking down to Chelsea and you need
10 minutes to go.
You've got the ability and you've got the squad. You've got the capability to get a goal somewhere. And you bring on fucking Milner. I was fuming.
Well, it's interesting, too, because obviously Naby Keita was on the bench. Shaqiri was on the bench. And Naby Keita, I'm the type of guy, or I'm one who said that he needs time to come back into the squad, bring him back in very slowly. But he's been free of injury for 2 weeks now. He made the bench. He should have at least seen 20 minutes, I would have thought. And even if you didn't want to risk him in this game, then you still have someone like Shaqiri on the bench who's been the go-to. But he went with Ox instead, and then he went with Milner, like you said.
But what does it say about it if he doesn't want to risk Naby Keita in a game that needs a Naby Keita?
Right.
What
I don't know what that says.
Like you've just said there, he's been fit. He's been on the bench. He could have played half an hour. He could have played a half. And Klopp chose not to do that. He chose to play Ox, who undoubtedly hasn't been the same since his ACL injury in the semi-finals. He hasn't been the same player, and he'll never be the same player. He's scared. So you're putting a frightened player who won't go in and make the challenges, who won't go in and make the runs because he's frightened, because he has multiple knee injuries. You're putting him in over a player who, wouldn't come off the pitch at the for the World Cup when he had a groin injury and he wouldn't come off the pitch. He wanted to keep playing. He played through the pain. I mean, I'm not advocating that a player plays through the pain, obviously, but you've got a player who could actively impact that game. We need to drive and force in that midfield because neither Gini, Jones or Thiago were able to do it. And you bring on Ox.
Yeah. I mean,
I
let's
think
Johnny. So go ahead, Wahami. We'll get to Johnny.
what I was going to say is in that second half, Chelsea were just sitting deep and playing counter-attacking football. So it didn't make sense to bring Ox on because there was no space for Ox to run into. And Ox is not a player that's in tight spaces. You know, even like in Ox's best season for us, he worked in open spaces where teams were open and there was room for him to run with the ball. That wasn't a game for him. That was a game for like someone who's good in tight spaces, like a Nabi or Kate or Shaqiri. So it didn't make sense to bring Ox on. And
Shaqiri would have been very good this game, I think, because he'd have really up Trent's levels. Because every time Shaq comes on as a super sub, Trent performs better. They link up really well.
So it didn't make sense to bring Ox. And I think I'm not going to slander Ox tonight because I think like he didn't impact the game, but he shouldn't have been on the pitch in the first place.
Yeah, I think Ox has always been put into tough situations. I think there's only been one time where he's actually started a match, and obviously he got subbed early. But let's go back to Johnny's comment. He said, "I think we can all admit it's shit at the moment, or shite. Sorry, shite at the moment." So how do we change this? How do we improve?
You go Irish then. It's shite at the moment. It's shite.
Hey, my last name's Scanlon, so there you go.
How do we improve? I think Klopp for Fulham needs to play Salah, Jota, Mane. To be honest, I think you'd have to play them again. I hope Mane plays for this, but yeah, I think pace will work against Fulham.
I would put Salah and Jota up top, and then put Bobby in that 10 again. But what were you? Sorry, I keep interrupting you. What were you gonna say?
No. Okay, that's good. That's good. He could try that, yeah, or just anything. But I think Naby has to start against Fulham because it's gonna be a low block, so we need someone who can create creativity. And I would play for that Fulham game. I'd put Fabinho in midfield. I'd put, it's not great, but I'd put K-Back and Phillips at centre back and put Fabinho in midfield, and then push Thiago and Keita forward and do it that way. I don't think we're going to need Ginny for that Fulham game. We're not going to need somebody who controls the game, the ball in that way. I know, but we don't need Ginny in that game. That's frustrating.
Do you know what? In an ideal world, I would love Fabinho to go back in midfield, play Jones, and put Thiago on, and then sub probably Thiago or Jones for Naby at like 50 minutes or so. But he's not going to do that. He's going to put Fabinho in defence. He's going to put the same midfield in, and I love Genie. And I was arguing with Wahomey and Julian literally yesterday about Genie, but we don't need Genie in that game. We've got too many holding midfielders in that midfield at the minute. Too many players just sitting there.
Yeah, JG, thanks for joining us, man. Welcome back from work. Julian said I'd play Salah, Jota, Shaqiri on Sunday. Mane is too predictable now, keeps the ball too much, and his first touch has been worse than Lukaku's at United. That's probably true right now. Naby Lad at Fulham with Thiago needed. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind that either, having Shaqiri get some time. I mean, I would actually agree with that. I think that Mane and Firmino could do with a little bit of a break. Obviously, Salah is still hungry. That guy wants to score as many goals as possible. So I think he has to play. But what do you think about that, Wahomey?
I wouldn't be against it. Anything now. I do see. I see the point that Bobby and Mane probably need to be dropped. And and I agree with that. Yeah, like try that. Whatever. Just try something different. Like, just not just favor the same players all the time. Like, Bobby and Mane need to be dropped. Yeah. So try something different. Just so we can have some kind of variation because it's now just predictable. I don't know what's going on with Mane. Like, I don't know if it's something personal. I just don't understand why he's just been so shocking. Why his first touch just disappeared. I don't get it. So it's alarming, the fact that, and because it's just there's something just not right there with him. And even like that chance, at no point did I think Mane was going to score. At no point did I think he was going to score when that ball came to him. And he got his feet all wrong. And I thought a confident Mane buries that, takes that touch, buries it.
To be fair, that's a really tough. I mean, it was a peach of a ball, I thought, but that's a tough shot. I think he should have. The fact that he didn't get anything on it says everything about his form. Whether he would have scored or not when he was on form, is another story. But it's tough, man. It's really tough. I'm trying to make an excuse for him. I don't know if I can.
You're trying really hard.
I'm trying so hard.
Let's find a way to defend Mane. Let's find.
Yeah,
Nope,
how do I defend him here? Shit. But JG just said, can someone tell me why the only thing Firmino and Mane have been consistent with all year is horrible first touches and passes that give possession away so easily? I mean, I would even throw Salah into that. Yeah, he has 24 or 26 goals now in all competitions, but even he has looked a little sloppy. Not really this game. I thought he was actually very effective in his passing in this game. But I just don't know what has to change for that to. I don't know if it's the intensity. Clearly, there's a confidence issue, but hopefully it can end before the Leipzig game. I mean, Mane came out with a quote the other day and said that we want the Champions League. So maybe that's where their head's at right now. That's the only thing that they're focusing on.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm sorry, but even if your head's in the Champions League, you can't just sack off the Premier League and be like, oh, it's not important. You
Bro,
make
not going to be there next year.
Because I'm not being funny. But if you're fighting for the Champions League, those teams that you're coming up against in that Champions League are going to be watching. Those managers are going to be watching you in the Premier League and keeping an eye on you and going, well, they're shit. They're not going to fear you. Regardless of whether your ambitions are in the Champions League or the Premier League or not, you still need to go in there and be like, yeah, we're still going to give you a good game. Not just fucking bend over for fucking Chelsea. You can't just bend. Oh, my God. I hate them.
I think that is a concern because if you look back to the Leipzig game, there was more hunger from us, more intensity. You know, although we didn't create much that Leipzig game, but it looks as if we were bothered. We were actually bothered in that game. Chelsea's game tonight, yeah, complete different.
Chelsea's game tonight was shit.
Yeah, we didn't want it. I just said I don't get it. I don't get why.
I don't understand why we didn't want it. Like there was everything. It was our game to win. Like we won that game. We went fourth. That's how big an impact it meant. And
exactly.
The lads should have given a fuck, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Well, it was strange because like it seemed like the first 20 minutes we actually showed some intensity. And then once Chelsea kind of bit back a little bit, we just went back on our heels. We're like, whoa, what's going on here? You know, and just like didn't match their intensity at all. And that's when they had those successive chances back to back to back. And finally they got the goal. But yeah, it's just, it's absolutely, it's shite. Yeah. Hey, Johnny Doyle said that I'm also Irish, so great attempt at the accent. Appreciate it, man.
I think the other thing we should be concerned is the fact the lack of creativity again from us. You know,
let's talk about that. Only one shot on target from Gini Wijnaldum in the 82nd minute.
That was a tame head as well. You know, so it wasn't as if like it was a big chance as well. Like, I don't know why we struggle to create anything as well. There's lack of creativity. There's lack of tempo in our play, and our team's so afraid to shoot. I've never seen a team that's so afraid to take a shot. You know, none of them want to take a shot. You know, Bobby gets the ball, no one wants to take a shot. Mine isn't taking the shots anymore.
They don't even look for it though. They don't even look for the shot. It's like they don't even think about it. They get to the top of the 18, and instead of looking at the goal, they're looking, where can I pass it to? It just doesn't. I've never seen that in a football team before. It just makes no sense to me. Maybe it's because I'm a defender. I don't know. But
I reckon we just start docking the wages and be like, every time you take a shitty shot on goal or every time you make a dodgy pass, I'm knocking 50 grand off your wages. See how fucking quick they score then, the bastards. Because when Thiago in that Scouse Kids thing with that Zoom meeting, how much do you earn a month, Thiago? Enough to live. All right then, let's knock 25 grand off every time you pass it backwards to Kabak. Let's see how you do then.
Well, what's the thing that Klopp did with Lewandowski when Lewandowski was at Dortmund? He every time Lewandowski scored in training or something, he gave him £50 or €50 or whatever it was, and he would score like 10 times a training session, and Klopp was like, "All right, I'm done." They need to do that. That.
Do you know what? I'd fucking put up like a GoFundMe or something. You know, if the lads would score, every time you score a goal, we'll give you extra money. Like,
yeah,
I'm fed up with them.
Zama just said that Fulham is a very physical team. I'd match that physicality in midfield with Milner, Gini, and Fabinho. Thiago Jones and Gini will get run through again. I mean, that's a really good point. There's a lot of length and strength in that Fulham midfield, and the way that they dealt with Chelsea's midfield today, I think they're definitely going to have a difficult time.
It's concerning, and I don't
laughing through the pain.
I don't even know if Klopp has the answers himself. Like, does Klopp look like he has the answers? Like, no, I don't think he has. We're not seeing anything different, really. So, you know, maybe the case the West Ham game we did like a we changed up in the West Ham game, but other than that, he's not really showing that he's got the answers, Klopp, right now. But I think he's given up in the league as well.
Shut up! I'm going to punch you.
Well, I think it is.
Right, though. Like 2 weeks ago, he said the top 4 is done. Like we're out of the top 4. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean to you when you're a player? I mean, I'm not hating on Klopp. I'll forever back Klopp.
Hang on.
Why would you say that?
Because Klopp said the title was obviously gone, but the next stage was fighting for the top 4 in the Champions League. That's the last thing I heard of it. I haven't heard or seen anything about.
No, then he said the top 4 is gone too. I think it was when they lost against not the game before Sheffield. Who they lose against? Leicester. Yeah, I think it was after that. He said that.
The top 4 is not gone. Top 4 is not gone. We've still got. You know, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we can still get top 4. It's going to be hard, but we can still get it.
I think in order for us to get top 4,
obviously, like it's shite.
Yeah, in order for us to get top 4, we need Leicester to keep dropping points, and we need Chelsea to be inconsistent. But Chelsea looked like a team that wants top 4 badly, and we looked like a team that's ready to settle for Europa League.
I hate to say it.
I'm not watching fucking Thursday night football, but against Azerbaijan, you can fuck off. I am not watching Thursday night footy.
I hate to say it, our neighbours across the road are also doing quite well.
Yo, don't you fucking dare! Shut up!
I said I hate to say it. They won tonight.
You know what, right?
They're doing well.
If Everton get fucking top 4 and we don't even get Europa, I swear to fucking God, I will sell my firstborn child. Like, I do not do it. I will quit my job because if I've got to listen to my fucking head teacher,
keep your child. Please keep your child. Keep your child, Sophie.
That's how sure I am that they are not going to get top 4. They will bottle it.
Yeah.
I hope so, but I just say like
they could just fucking sold my child.
They've gone 3 points ahead of us, and I'd hate for them to get it.
Yeah. Well, should we even do a man of the match?
No. Let's fucking not.
Yeah, I don't know.
So let's just, before we kind of wrap up, let's just talk about Klopp subs. Like,
shit.
What is going on with subs? Like, they don't make any sense anymore, and they always feel like as if.
Hang on a minute. Sorry. Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, I don't know who that is. Sawick? I think we're gonna put him in timeout.
Yeah, you can go. You can piss off.
I don't understand why we are.
Just try to be respectful of everybody in the chat and everybody in the show, guys.
Yeah, 100%. You know, everyone's opinion is respected here, whether you like it or not. Yeah, I just don't understand. Like with Klopp's subs, it's like he handicaps us because he'll take off one player that should be staying on the pitch and bring on someone who shouldn't. You keep on someone who's killing us, and then bring on a substitute that doesn't make sense on. So I don't understand. I just don't understand why he's always doing this. Like, why do we always wait 70 minutes or 80 minutes to make a substitution? You know, or was it the wrong sub? I just don't get his subs sometimes. He's too loyal to certain players, Klopp, as well. And I think he needs to stop being that loyal.
Yeah, it's been, you and I have talked about it a lot with Homie and even Sophie when she's come on, but it just seems to be a theme this season of Jurgen just seems to be waiting for this team to produce. And he waits so long to make a substitution that we often don't see one until the 80th minute. I mean, he changed it up a little bit today. I think Salah went off at the 65th or 70th minute. I'm not sure when it exactly was, but he got it all wrong. And I think he's gotten it wrong the past few games as well. So that's definitely a concern for me too. I don't know what that's all about, but maybe he's become too reliant. Maybe he's playing favorites. Like, why is Salah coming off? Why isn't Mane coming off? That makes no sense to me. Mane was atrocious today. He was the worst player in the pitch. Why is Sadio Mane coming off? She should have. What do you think, Sophie?
Sorry, I'm just messaging Johnny back because Johnny's just text me and says, I'm waiting for you to throw your speed out the window. I'm not that angry, am I? Okay. Sorry.
I don't think so.
Nah, we're all feeling it. We're all feeling how you're hanging.
Sorry, I was out then. I wasn't even listening.
We were just talking about the substitutions for this game and how Klopp's been with substitutions.
Well, we've always said Klopp's had dodgy subs, haven't we? Like, he never subs in the first half unless it's injury. He gets to about 70 minutes, 65 minutes before he makes a sub, and they're always, apart from the Genie sub in the Barca game, have we ever really been happy with his substitutions? Like, can you recall a game where we actually went, oh, that was a really good idea. Oh, I love that sub. Or bring Jones on, and he brought Jones on. Or you go, take Milner off, and he takes Milner off. He never does what you think he's going to do.
Yeah.
He always seems to do the opposite. And I've never understood Klopp's subs. I don't think I ever will. And more this season, I'm watching him, I'm just going, he knows more than we know. He sees more than we see. But
True.
I'm just sat there watching the game going, how does that make sense? Like, how, when you are in a situation like this, does it make sense to take off the one member of the front three that is actually doing something?
Yeah, and even JG just said he's holding on to what worked, I feel like, when everyone was informed. Now that they're not, he's forcing the same agenda.
Yeah. I feel like he's flogging a dead horse in the sense that he's kind of riding the coattails of these players, and it's a shame, but I think it's time we need to kind of let some of them take a bit of a seat back and find some fresh blood somewhere. I don't know where, I don't know how, I don't know, if FSG are going to release any funds for that, but how can you expect us to keep fighting at top flight level? And I don't know. And sub Milner on, sub a 35-year-old, a 33-year-old on, like.
That's the answer. That's the answer we're looking for. James Milner off the bench.
Don't bring Milner off the bench unless we're winning.
I just think, like.
Oh, fucking LA's Charles.
There's Charles coming up.
He always comes in at the opportune time.
Hi, Charles.
I just feel like
Charles, you're getting a hot take, man.
Yeah, I just feel like I just feel like Klopp's throwing it in for the league. Like I said, I'll stand by it. He's throwing it in, and that's why he's doing these subs. And I don't know, maybe Shine saying maybe he's someone who plays in the red zones. I don't think it's that. I think Klopp's thinking Champions League, and I think it's wrong. But I think he's thinking that. And I'm going to say he plays for the Champions League and just go for that. I think even the players are playing like they are playing for the Champions League, and obviously that's a risk because obviously, as we said before, we get kicked out of the Champions League, and we haven't got top four.
Yeah.
Then and I'd rather finish 7th or 8th than end up in Europa League. So, I don't want that. Yeah, I'd rather finish.
If that's the case, then we win the league next year.
I think next year everyone's going to have a very rude awakening when, if life returns to somewhat form of normal, we're allowed more than 2,000 fans back in the stadium again. The atmosphere's there. Our injuries are back. Not just ours. All the teams in the Premier League have their injuries back, and the Premier League becomes what it should be again. I think then everyone's going to have a real shock to the system when they realise what football actually is about now. Because let's not forget, for the past 12 months or so, football's not been the same. We had that big, massive break as well where the league was suspended. And then when it did come back, it wasn't the same. So we haven't seen football as Premier League football in a year.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's in for a very rude awakening when next year comes around and everyone's suddenly better than they were this year.
Well, yeah, that's a good point because I don't think that we've really played well and since that Atletico Madrid game. I mean, we've obviously had our moments. We've had some good games, but we've lost that intensity that we had last season, and I think it's because the fans are absent. So hopefully we can get the fans back in the stadium soon and build another fortress at Anfield because clearly that fortress is non-existent without fans.
No,
I think the last time we had against the Spurs game, we had fans in the stadium. We look good.
Thanks.
Shane agrees with you, Sophie. Shane agrees.
I'm right. But I do think Anfield is always built on the 12th man. we've always had. Anfield has always been that special place, and it's always had that atmosphere, and that's what's made it so difficult to play there. And I think we've done well in, credit where credit's due. I think we've done well to get this far without fans before we started struggling at Anfield. But Anfield's only a fortress when the actual fans are there, because Liverpool is a club based on emotion. Liverpool is a club based on your fans. Without us being there, it's a very difficult situation for the players. Because let's not forget, a lot of our players have been there with fans. I mean, obviously, like our newest ones like Kabak and Thiago and that, and Jota, they won't have seen our fans in the stadium. They won't have been in that atmosphere. So for them, they don't know any different, really. But for the players like, Genie and Bobby, who for the past 4 or 5 years have known nothing but the fans screaming their song every game, that's got to have an impact at some point.
Yeah. Well, let's finish up with man of the match, and then we'll call this show. Let's start with you, Sophie. Who is your man of the match in this one?
Do I have to have one?
You could pick the final whistle like Chris Welch did.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the final fucking whistle. Honest to God.
For me, I don't think there is anyone, but if I was going to give it to anyone, I had to.
For me, it's either Salah or Allison, maybe. Allison had some good saves. Or I think he had one good save.
Yeah, I think it's hard. Maybe Salah, but it's not like a massive clear-cut call.
No.
Yeah. But
All right, well, let's wrap it up on that. Hopefully Sunday will bring a more fortunate result for the Reds. But for all you guys tuning in, thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Sophie, thanks so much for joining us again. It's always a pleasure. But yeah, we'll be back. What is it, homie? It was Saturday? We'll be back on Saturday?
I think it's Saturday. Right. Yeah.
We'll be back on Saturday, guys. So we'll see you then. Take it easy.
Are the Reds?
No.